Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy. And we got Isaiah already in the chat saying a whole bunch of stuff. He's proud. I'm going to let him tell you why he's proud, though. I'm not going to tell you why he's proud. I'm going to let Isaiah tell you why he's feeling so good and proud today. You would think that he would feel this good, you know, when he's come on after he's spent some time with his lady, but no, something different than that. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are breaking down New York Knicks draft pick prospects, not picks, prospects, possible prospects. We're going to break some of them down, and I know you can't see my eyes. I'm going to raise this up a little bit so you can see my eyes. There you go. All right. We're going to talk about Obi Toppin. We're going to talk about James Wiseman and whether or not these two guys would be good draft picks for the New York Knicks if the Knicks were in position to get these guys. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. All right. I got Guillermo. I got Isaiah. Got Kevin in the chat. I had to look at it, make sure I had the name right. We're going to get these guys over here, and we're going to go ahead and start breaking this thing down, man. Let me get these guys in here. Guillermo, what's poppin' with you, bro? How you feeling?
Not much, man. Chilling, bro. Watching a lot of draft videos lately on these players, some underrateds and the typicals, man. It's an interesting draft, man. I think one thing with the Knicks, you look at some of these players, and I just wonder if we have the infrastructure to properly develop the players. It's not just the coaching, right? It's the assistant coaches. It's your philosophy, what you want to run on the court. Also your health, the health and nutritional team, your workout. What do you want to? I don't know what you call them. The workout, the guys who basically keep these guys in shape, the workout guys, the physical fitness guys. But yeah, you got a lot of raw guys, and someone's gonna hit this draft just because of the sheer talent. But a lot of these guys need development. Proper development. Wiseman, I'm seeing comparisons to like Chris Bosh. I'm like, dude, he is not Chris Bosh. Do not call this dude Chris Bosh coming in. You know what I mean? And some of these guys gonna have lofty expectations, and unfortunately, there's gonna be a few guys going to some teams who want to concede kids saviors when they're not. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting. We're gonna get into it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel a certain way about both these guys, man. It's just I feel uneasy about labeling them the next this or next that because I don't see Bosh. People calling Obi Toppin, Amari Stoudemire, and again, different type of NBA where a guy like Obi Toppin be featured. But I remember a guy in Derek Williams who's had the same profile outside the fact that Obi Toppin could shoot a little bit better coming out of college, but the same profile, the same explosiveness, and then what a lot of people do is that they go off of potential. And you know how many guys? I bet you 80% of the guys who go into the draft, well, this potential here, never pan out. And ESPN does it, Fox News does, all the media outlets do it. Instead of looking at a kid's tape and saying, all right, this kid shoots 40% from three, or this guy's averaging 7-point-some assists, on a team that's really not good, but he's getting everybody involved. He's averaging 15 points a game, being the only option on the team as a point guard. I'm looking at like Ja Morant and stuff like that, even though I don't know if he averaged 15 points a game. You know what I mean? They just look at, oh man, this guy, he could dunk. Did you see that? Did you see his highlights? Did you see his? It's like, what? Like, that's not all it is to scout a player. So, we'll get into it, but
yeah, I mean, just preliminarily, I will say he looks and plays a lot like, and I'm not talking about he's going to be Amari. His style of play is a lot like Amari's. It really is. Even the way he shoots a jump shot is a lot like Amari. It is a lot. And I'm not going to have video up to look at it, but we'll talk about it because there's a lot with both of these guys. Both of these guys, there are big question marks with both of these guys, in my opinion. All right. Let me get to Isaiah, then we're going to go ahead and we'll look at James Wiseman first. Isaiah, what's popping with you, man?
Hey, Sam, there's a few days of my life where I'm excited. My father's birthday, my girl's birthday, my birthday, when I get to eat some delicious food. There's a few days of my life I have pure joy in my heart. But today, my heart is just extended the universe.
Yeah, come
like,
man.
I'm usually here.
Yeah, I'm about to mute this dude, man.
But now I'm here. Gilmo, Gilmo, you want to be that dude tonight. Don't take
the
my
universe comes together.
Don't take my joy,
I love the
Gilmo.
world. Oh my, I wanted just to say that
Sim,
it's my birthday today. Can I get a happy birthday from the chat, guys, please?
Simeon.
Thank you, guys.
Sim.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, because Negative Nancy over here. You know, I was on Instagram today, Tim. And you know what? I was bored. You know, I was cooking my food. You know, I see my best friend Damian Dotson online, and I said, let me go see my best friend Damian Dotson and see what he's doing. He was on live. He clicked the request button. I clicked the request button, and lo and behold, we got on FaceTime with each other. You know, we talked for
IG
hours.
Live. You got on IG Live.
IG Live. We talked for hours. You know.
Yeah. Okay. You talk for what? 3 minutes? Come on, man. He said hours.
Nah. But I got to talk to Damian Dotson a little bit. Honestly, I did get to talk to Damian Dotson a little bit. Very humble guy. Very cool guy. Gilmo, shut up. I don't like Sim. Sim, can I just say something before I finish my awesome story?
Hurry up, man. Hurry up. Finish your story.
Gilmo's the type of dude, Sim, to be like, we're having a good time at the party and be like, we're all gonna die one day, right? That's who Gilmo is. But anyways, I was talking to Damian Dotson. He's a very humble guy. I told him I shouted out NBK, told him to hop on the chat and see if he wanted to come on one day. He kind of he's like I might check it out. He basically said no, but it's okay. I'm gonna just assume he said yes, and he's on the chat right now. But we made sure to shout out to MBK. I told him that we talk about him and Frank how he's hard workers, and I haven't stopped smiling since. So I'm good for the rest of my life. I'm fine. I can die. I'm good. Life is good.
All right, man. Well, hey, you know what? Damian Dotson made your day. That's what's up. That's all that matters. Damian Dotson made your day. That's all that matters, man. That's what's up to you, though. Big shout out to you. Big shout out for Dot for doing stuff like that. Big shout out to Dot for doing stuff like. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna break this down. We're gonna take a look at James Wiseman first. Talk about James Wiseman. Okay, look, I don't want the NCAA and everybody else banging out my videos, you know what I'm saying? So it's not any highlights of this guy, but we're going to bring over some stats and some history of him, look at his strengths and his weaknesses, and then we'll get back to the video chat. Of course, I'm going to take some phone calls. I want to know what you think about him. All right, I want to get all of that information. So let's go ahead and let's bring this on over here. James Wiseman, ladies and gentlemen. He's a center. He's 7'1", 235 pounds. That's what he's listed as. All right, played for Memphis. He's a freshman this year. Of course, there's going to be some caveat there. All right, but he's a freshman this season in the 1920 season for the Memphis Tigers, 19 years old. He just turned 19 about a week ago. All right, so big shout out to James Wiseman for advancing in age. This season in 3 games, remember, he only played 3 games, ladies and gentlemen. In 3 games, he averaged 19.7 points per game, 10.7 rebounds, 0.3 assists, 0.3 steals, 1 turnover. He shot 76.9% from the field. He did not shoot threes. And he shot 70.4% from the free throw line. Okay? Remember, he only played 3 games. Why did he only play 3 games? Let's talk about that for just a minute. All right. Just a second so we have some background history on why he only played 3 games. And yes, I did change garments, ladies and gentlemen. I want to keep my ears warm. But anyway, James Wiseman was recruited by Penny Hardaway in high school. All right, Penny Hardaway was coaching a high school team, and he wanted this kid to come play for him. So what'd he do? He paid $11,500 for this kid and his family to move so that he could play high school ball for him. Lo and behold, this guy helps Penny Hardaway get a college coaching gig, right? So Penny Hardaway moves on. He's coaching in college. He recruits James Wiseman to come play for him. The NCAA said, hold on. You paid $11,500 for this kid to move, to play for you in high school. They considered Penny Hardaway a booster. Let's put it like that. All right. So, needless to say, it was considered an NCAA violation. There was a court hearing and all that kind of stuff. James Wiseman was ruled ineligible to play college basketball. So he only played 3 games for the Memphis Tigers. So what you get is what you see. I was about to say what you see is what you get, but it's not like that. What you see, you don't know what you get yet. Because you was not able to see him play a full college season. He wouldn't have played a full college season anyway, but he would have played most of it. You don't know exactly what you're getting with James Wiseman. You know that he was one of the top high school centers, or the top high school center to come out that season. Right? We know that. We know he's super athletic. He's got some raw potential. But not playing those, the games that they played in college, maybe it hurts his draft. Maybe it hurts his draft stock. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's look at his strengths and weaknesses. He's got great size. He's 7'1", 235. Not great size. Maybe I shouldn't have said great size. He has good size, but for the NBA, he still might be kind of small. But you can see his shoulders there. Right? The kid still has some room to fill out. And if you look at his body structure, it's going to fill out nicely, I think. It's going to fill out nicely. He's going to have a good, strong NBA body. As long as he, does the right things, keeps himself in shape, eats the right kind of foods, he should have a good NBA body. All right, he's got good footwork and he's nimble on his feet. That is very good for any basketball player. Regardless if you have offensive moves or not, it is very good to have good footwork and be nimble on your feet. That is the basis. That's one of the bases that you've got to have to play basketball is good footwork. And then to be nimble, to add that with good footwork, it says that you have the foundation to develop an offensive game because he needs to. He has those fundamentals. Right? He shows flashes of a nice touch. If you watch those 3 games, he showed the ability to knock down a mid-range shot, maybe knock down a fadeaway post, do a fadeaway post move or something. All right, so he has a couple of flashes of showing that he's got a little bit of a touch and would have the ability to shoot. He has good form. I watch him shoot his free throws. He has good form. He's got to learn how to knock. The only thing I would say about his form is when he lets the ball go, his fingers are tight together. You need to spread those fingers, make sure you get good rotation on the ball. But hey, that's what shooting coaches are for. Of course, he has the potential to be a paint defender. Right? He has a good nose for the ball and blocking shots. I'm not saying that he's Mitchell Robinson, but he has that kind of laser focus on the ball to be able to block shots. All right, so he's a guy that should be able to block shots. I didn't put it. I should have put his I put steals up there. I should have put his blocking stats up there. My bad. I don't know why I put steals up there. I do know why I put steals up there because this is a template that I used when I was doing the guards. That's why I put steals up there. Weaknesses, ladies and gentlemen. His basketball IQ, his basketball experience, let's say that. Right? Obviously, he played in high school and he was a top recruit coming out of high school. Right? But he only got to play 3 games in college. So he didn't really get a chance to perform at this level, 19 points and 10 rebounds against a full-time college continuously, intense basketball play. We didn't get a chance to see that. And by the way, he averaged 3 blocks per game. Just wanted to throw that out there. He averaged 3 blocks per game. All right, he needs to develop an offensive package. He doesn't have much. Very much like Mitchell Robinson. Right? It's very much like Mitchell Robinson. He's going to catch oops. He's going to get offensive rebounds and put them back. You're going to catch him on a fast break. You might catch him cutting to the basket, something like that. But you're not going to get a whole lot of, I'm going to take you to the basket. I'm going to post you up. I'm going to jab step and knock down the mid-range. You're not going to get that out of him right now. He needs to build his offensive package. He'll bite on fakes, much like our boy Mitch. Right? Pump fake, get him in the air. He wants to block those shots. Then, of course, a young man, he's 19 years old, just turned 19 years old a week ago. He's got to build his upper body. He's got to build his lower body. Most of these rookies in the draft, that's what has to be done. No doubt about the kid. He's going to be a good player one day. I expect he will be. But if you're the Knicks and you get the number 1 pick, right now they have, who gets drafted is going to depend on who gets that number 1 pick, really. But if you get the number 1 pick, do you even consider James Wiseman? I'm going to be honest with you. And this has nothing to do with the NCAA violation, but I'm not considering James Wiseman. Right? I look at him and I see much of what Mitch is right now. Yes, he's younger, but if you're going to say he's younger because he's 19 years old and Mitch is 21, then you're going too far. Right? If I hear someone say, well, James Wiseman to be younger, you're going too far. So I don't want to hear that. Right? You're going to get much of what Mitch is. Right? A big, long center that can block shots, that can catch the oop, doesn't have an outside game, right? Doesn't have much of a post-up game. Maybe he's shown the ability to hit that outside shot, the mid-range shot a little bit more than Mitch right now. Doesn't mean that Mitch isn't going to develop it. Mitch really didn't get too much of a chance to shoot it. All right. So, and plus, if you draft Wiseman in those first 5 picks, you're going to be paying the kid, what, $7 million, $8 million, $9 million a year? You're paying Mitch like $1 million. For, who has the bigger upside? I don't know. I'm not sure. But I think at this point, if it were me, I wouldn't go with Wiseman. I'd stick with Mitch. Right? Because you're not going to be able to play the 2 guys together. That's not happening. You can guarantee that. Right? I'd stick with Mitch and still go with a point guard at that point. That's where I would be. I figure, the same player, Wiseman offensive game is maybe it's a little bit more defined than Mitch. Can he do it in the NBA? We don't know. I think when he gets into the NBA, he's going to be like Mitch. Catching oops, getting putbacks. It's going to be the same guy. Maybe he knocks down the mid-range a little bit more. But let me get in here, man. Let me see. Nate just joined us. Big Freezy's here. Nate, I'm going to come to you, man. I want to find out what you think. What do you think, man?
What's up, man?
Do you take James Wiseman if the Knicks were to get the number 1 pick? Do you take James Wiseman? I say no.
You talking about the big guy?
What'd you say?
You talk about the guy from Memphis?
Yeah, the Memphis center from Memphis.
No, man. You got Mitch. You gotta roll with Mitch, man. He's only 21 years old, and you've already kind of hopefully made him one of your cornerstone pieces of this team. So, I know Wiseman's probably a little bit more ahead of him offensively, but I don't know if he's going to ever be the potential defensively that Mitch is already. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Sam. I haven't really seen the guy play. I didn't watch a lot of college basketball this year. I know he's got a pretty good jump shot, I hear. I just think he's kind of the same person Mitch is, except maybe a little bit more offense. And Mitch has already been in the Knicks system or whatever you want to call it for 2-3 years, right? Right?
Well, yeah,
he's been with the Knicks. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been with the Mitch has been with the Knicks for this is his second season. Right. This is his second season. Now, Wiseman, maybe he has a little bit more of a jump shot. But he's still very much going to be the same player as Mitch. Yeah.
The only thing, this is what I say, is if the Knicks are able to move Julius Randle, then I think it could be a consideration, because keeping Mitch at 5 and Wiseman playing the 4. But
nah, I don't think so. Wiseman doesn't shoot. He shot 0% from the 3-point line. He doesn't shoot. It would be a total duplication of player to have Mitch and James Wiseman on the floor. And the only way you're gonna have a
pretty good jump shooter, they said.
I mean, he can maybe shoot the mid-range. He's shown the ability to shoot the mid-range. But we don't know if it's going to be consistent, if he's going to be able to do it in the NBA. He only played 3 games in college.
Yeah, man, like I said, I have not seen a lot of college basketball this year, so I really don't have a strong opinion on him other than that he is a pretty athletic specimen. He's a big guy. But like I said, we already have that in Mitch, man. So, I mean, I say we rock with Mitch and just get a shooter, get some guys that can slash to the basket. Let's build around Mitch and RJ, man.
Yeah. Let me see what some other guys think about this guy, man. Big Freezy. Hold on, let me get some other guys, Isaiah. Big Freezy, I'm coming to you, Big Freezy. Big Freezy, what's going on, man? What's your take on James Wiseman?
Man, I love this kid, man. I love it. Hey, I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago, we had this conversation, and I got slammed in the chat because I felt like the Knicks were void of super athletic, bouncy bigs. And so I said that, man, and I got slammed. And I think and that same year, I think we drafted Mitch. And it changed everything for our team defense just by having somebody back there that's bouncy. So, but I love Wiseman, but I don't think that we could play Mitch and Wiseman at the same time. I think Wiseman is what we want Mitch to be eventually, like a super athletic, bouncy big that's impactful on defense and contribute, some on offense. But I don't know if we can play both of them, man. And having both of them, it would be, a dilemma for us.
It would just be too redundant, in my opinion. You can't play both of them at the same time, in my opinion. You can't.
Right.
I just don't think you can play both.
But I love Wiseman though. Sim, the dude has foot speed and athleticism. You know what I'm saying? He has all those things that the modern big has. And I don't know if we can pass on that, saying that we're devoid of talent. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. I mean, I think if I have the number 1 pick, I don't know if I have him at the top of my board. And I'm going to do a Knicks big board. I don't know if I have him at the top of my board. Just because we have Mitch and because it's so redundant. Do you think he's more athletic than Mitch?
I don't know if I can say that right now. I think so based off the tape that I watch. But at the same time, though, man, there was a time in like 85 where the Knicks had a dude named Bill Cartwright that they took with the number 3 pick in the draft. And Bill Cartwright was coming along pretty good. But the number 1 pick in that draft was a dude named Patrick Ewing. You know what I mean?
Right, but he was head and shoulders above. I mean, you knew that Patrick Ewing was one of the top 5 players in college. So you knew Patrick Ewing was going to be heads and shoulders better than Bill Cartwright.
With Charles Barkley and Chris Mullin and all them dudes coming out in that. draft. I understand what you're saying.
You know, with James, and then you're looking at it like I said earlier. You got to pay James Wiseman maybe $9 million a year. You're only paying Mitch $1 million.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
And you still got that contract with Mitch for a couple of years.
Yeah, I know. But let me ask you this: Does Mitchell Robinson today look like in a couple of years he'll be a 20-10 guy?
I don't know, but I don't know if we can say that about Wiseman either. I don't know if we can say he's going to be. I mean, he has. Listen, I'll say that he has the footwork. He has all the foundational pieces to be a 20-10 guy. He has all of it. I will say that. He has every single foundation piece that you need. He's got the footwork. He's nimble on his feet. He's got good form. He's got to spread his fingers on that jump shot, but it looks like he'll be able to have a little bit of a touch. You know, will he be able to develop, some post moves and things like that? We'll see. Will he be able to eventually take it outside of the paint? We'll see. Will Mitch be able to do that? Is he better than Mitchell
Robinson right now, though? Is he better than Mitch right now, in your opinion?
It's hard to say. We only seen him 3 games in college.
I know, man. I know.
As a matter of fact, he's taking a very similar route to the NBA that Mitch took. Because Mitch, coming out of high school, was one of your top centers, one of the top 2 centers coming out of high school.
Right. Remember, Mitch absolutely murdered this cat named DeAndre Ayton at the EYBL, the Nike Elite game, whatever thing they have. Right. Mitch murdered that dude, and then he fell off the map and disappeared.
Well, that's because of everything that happened in college. You know what I mean? So it's tough to say, man. It's tough to say. I think the question is this: is he so good? Like you were saying, Bill Cartwright and Patrick Ewing. Is he so good that he's going to change your franchise? If he is that good where he changes your franchise, then you got to do it.
Hell yes.
If he is not the kind of guy that's going to...
I'm telling you, dog. The dude is a franchise changer. Okay. Think about this. All the front offices, everybody in basketball know that bigs are being basically... you have to change your skill set as a big. And this dude is still considered to be a top 3 pick. Think about that. The teams are going away from 7-footers and just want rim runners and lob catchers and defenders. This dude is 7'1" and still is in the conversation.
I get it. So was the other dude that Philadelphia picked up. What's his name?
Okafor. You talking about?
He was supposed to be, his footwork was supposed to be phenomenal. Had good touch, good soft hands, good soft feet. Obviously, coming out, his defense was an issue. His James Wiseman's defense is not an issue. You know that he can block shots, and he's gonna have a good NBA body. It's a high motor. And a high motor. And he has a high motor.
And a high motor.
So
man. This dude's
we'll see how that goes, man.
Everything. This is my feeling on it. So if you're the Knicks and you get the number 1 pick, right? And you have the dude ranked number 1 on your board, you have to take him regardless if you have Mitchell Robinson or not. Because you can't just look at what players are going to be on court. You have to look at assets also. You know what I'm saying? Like what piece can I maybe move later on to get another key piece that I wouldn't been able to get, say, in the draft or free agency. You have to treat it like an asset too. But the thing with Wiseman though, man, dudes don't come 7'1" that come along and are as athletic as dudes that are 6 foot tall. They don't come along often, and for the Knicks to have 2 of them, man, that'll be crazy, man.
I mean,
and I'm sure the Knicks could either take that pick and move it.
I went back and I watched a lot of his game, or his 3 games. Right, I went back because I have them all. I have just about every single high-profile college game recorded. Right, because they came out ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN this, ESPN that, and I got them all. I set my YouTube TV up to record all of them. you don't have YouTube TV, get it, because you can record all of that stuff and go back and watch it at any time. It's good.
Yeah, I have it.
They got to have it good till like November, right? And I went back and I watched the games, and I saw a lot of Mitch, besides an occasional mid-range jump shot that he can knock down. I did see better footwork than Mitch and better form shooting the shot. You know what I'm saying? Right. But I still, but
for you to say that though is like the biggest cosign ever, because
I mean, I agree with you.
Mitchell Robinson and Knicks fans that don't know this need to get their stuff together. This dude Mitchell Robinson, I'm referring to, has the best footwork of any big in the NBA, any young big in the NBA, and so much so that he led the NBA in field goal percentage by just catching lobs and getting footwork, so he'd be open for pass, presenting himself to be open, so all he have to do is dunk. And that's one of the hardest things to do in the NBA, because everybody has defensive schemes to cover either the three-point line or dunks and layups. And for this dude to shoot 74% from the field is incredible.
Well, it's listen, James Wiseman, over his few games in the NCAA, over in college, he shot like 76% too. But mostly from lobs and dunks and catching them on a fast break, just like Mitch. Hey, let me get around to some other guys. I'll come back to you, Big Freezy. Guillermo, I'm coming to you, Guillermo. Oh, actually, let me get to Andrew first. I didn't get to Andrew. I'm coming to Andrew. Andrew, I hope you're ready. I'm coming to you, my man. Andrew, you there? Nope, he ain't there. So I'm coming to Guillermo.
Oh, what's up, Tim?
Guillermo, what's your take, man?
The thing with Wiseman, right? So Wiseman has Wiseman's very raw. So watching some stuff on him, let me point the positive. He runs the floor well. He does try to shoot the mid range, and it's a shot where near the foul line or even inside the paint, he has a little touch. When he gets to the ball in space, like say when he gets around like the foul line or sometimes even from the baseline, when he has space, he has a little dribble and the little spin move to get to the basket easily, not easily, but more efficiently. And sometimes on the weak side defense, he's fairly solid. Now, the things with him is that, he doesn't really space out the floor in terms of he's not going to shoot threes, right? Because people are trying to compare to Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh was shooting like 48% from three, even in college. I know it was like 1.5 shots a game, but still that's pretty impressive for a big guy. And the thing with Wiseman is that even for his frame, he doesn't assert himself physically all the time or consistently, right? So when you look at a guy in college, right, we're looking at Obi Toppin and we say, oh yeah, he could be the next Amari Stoudemire. At the very least, he's using his physicality at a very high level, right? And when you see a guy like Wiseman who should be doing that consistently, you kind of question whether he has that in him or whether he doesn't. And if he doesn't have that in him, then he has to change his whole game to be more of a space guy, because you can't stay down there and try to and be expected to bang with guys that, down the post, and you don't do that consistently.
Well, he's a little bit weak. I don't want to say weak. He's not strong. He's got to strengthen that upper. Like Obi Toppin is. We'll talk about him. He's a grown ass man, right?
Yeah,
we'll talk about him.
One of the scouting reports on your boy Wiseman was what you just said, was that they actually said that his lower frame is actually relatively weak. And if your lower frame is weak, you're not going to be able to jump or get that balance. You're not going to be able to get that strength. So that's one of his issues. But the thing about it is I'm scared that, sometimes you could build that in guys, right? Shaq is different, but when they made Shaq bulk up for the centers on the West, some guys they can fill it out, just genetically could do that. I don't know if it's some guys, they just can't gain weight and gain that muscle. Their genetics are just that strong. So that might be an issue going forward. And one thing he also does too, and because of this, is that sometimes when he gets stuck down low against some of the defenders, right, he settles for like ugly jump shots, right, versus kind of like having a set array of moves and then or go into a certain array of moves, and then once that's stuck, kind of trying to pass out or kind of revert, get away from that. Like his moves down low are good, and it's something to build off of, but you're not looking at like Olajuwon coming from this guy, right? So it's like sometimes he can be stopped by, some of the big guys, and hopefully with coaching stuff, some of that stuff can change. But I just want to ask, outside what I talk about the mid-range and, with his little dribble at times, I'm not saying he's a good dribbler. I'm just saying that at times when he dribbles, when he has a little bit of space to get to the basket, he has maybe beat one man. what does he do that's so much better than Mitch Robinson? People are like, oh, he's so much better than Mitch Robinson.
Much.
Mitch Robinson, and we complain about this, he's at least asserting himself defense. And I know it takes years, right? But outside the whole possible contract dispute, what does he do that's so much better than Mitch Robinson? Outside of what I said with the little mid-range shot. I'm not saying you said this. I'm just...
No, I know. I mean, I don't see much that he does different. I mean, if you go back and watch the games, all of his points come from the same way that Mitchell Robinson gets his points.
Right.
Getting them on a fast break, alley-oops, offensive rebounds to putting it back, maybe a couple of mid-range jump shots here and there. That's basically how he's getting his points right now. He does have good footwork and he has good form and those type of things, but I don't know. I wouldn't take him over Mitch. I wouldn't draft him. If we had the opportunity to draft him at 1, I would not draft him. Now, I seen someone say, if you had the opportunity to draft him at 6, would you draft him? I don't know. Like, if I don't know. I'd have to think about it. But if he's at 1 or 2 or 3, and I have a chance to draft Lamelo, I'm going to, for the Knicks, you're going to take Lamelo over James Wiseman, in my opinion. For the Knicks, at least.
Yeah, no one's saying that Wiseman can't score, but it's like, when you look at, because people in the chat are like, oh, Wiseman can score. And this thing is like, a lot of times, again, a lot of people, they build off potential, right? So what would be easier, to draft a guy in Wiseman, and if we don't build around him, he can falter, right? And I hope he does well wherever he goes. If he goes to the Knicks, I hope he kills it, right? But what would be easier, to have him develop some of these strength things that we're talking about, be more assertive on the physical front, both offense and defense, and then build out a shot, which the shot would be easier to come by because he actually does shoot. Or would it be easier to just tell, hey, Mitch? And also another thing that Wiseman does too is that he leaves his feet. And Mitch Robinson had this issue too.
Mitch Robinson does it too, but yeah.
Mitch Robinson does it too, but Mitch Robinson, again, if we freaking got a damn center to replace DJ, who's the same size and kind of teach the same moves, because once DJ came, he wasn't jumping on his feet anymore. His feet were stable to the ground. He was forcing guys to make bad shots that second half. But when you look at a guy like Wiseman, and it's the same thing, right? He does leave his feet a lot. So it's like, again, it's weird. He doesn't rely on his strength and his frame to kind of impose his will upon guys trying to score on him in the post. But a lot of times he leaves his feet, off of a double move, of a head fake, stuff like that. So, I mean, the issue with Wiseman is just that, when you look at the Knicks, you look at the position need, is a position need? No. Then you look at the talent. Is a talent so overwhelming, right? People call him an Embiid. He's not Embiid. People try to call him a Chris. This ain't Chris Bosh. So the talent doesn't supersede the need. Where it's like, it's not like this huge margin. So, salute to him. I mean, I hope he does well. I think with the proper team. I think with a team like, say, if he went to a team like I don't know how they would develop him per se. But if he went to a team like the Blazers, where he could kind of space out and be dangerous, and they could build out more of a perimeter game. Because Hassan Whiteside, I don't think he's the proper center for that team. You need proper development for Wiseman, right? He needs touches. He needs to get the ball in space. He needs to refine his spin moves. I mean, his post moves. But I just don't know if he's the right guy for the Knicks. It just doesn't fit to me.
Yeah,
right now.
I don't know if he's the, if we didn't have Mitch, then maybe he would be the right guy if you got the number 1 pick. Now, if you're talking about the, that we have the 5th or 6th pick, and I know, people are saying, oh, it's not realistic that the Knicks don't have the number 1 pick, but it wasn't realistic that New Orleans would get the number 1 pick either, and they did. So, we're just talking about it, right? What if he's there at another number? What if we're 3rd and he's there, and we have to choose between him and LaMelo Ball? What do we do? Right, so we're just asking the question. Me, I think that, at this point, maybe he ends up being better than Mitch later on, but Mitch is going to be pretty good too. Right? Mitch is going to be pretty good too. And at this point, you can maximize your money by keeping Mitch, drafting another player, right? Because you got to pay Wiseman $9 million. You only got to pay Mitch $1 million. So. Now let's talk about Obi Toppin, and I'm gonna get to the other guys that's in the chat as we come back. Let's talk about Obi, right? Because I know there's a lot of people that like Obi Toppin. I like Obi Toppin a lot too. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? I like this kid, But I have some questions about him. All right, he's listed at 6'9", 220 pounds. He's a forward. Played for Dayton. He's a sophomore. But there's an asterisk next to him being a sophomore, ladies and gentlemen. All right? He's 22 years old. His birthday is 3/4/98. So he just turned 22 not too long ago. He averaged 20 points, 7.5 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 1 steal, 2.2 turnovers. He shot 63.3% from the field, shot 39% from 3, and 70.6% from the free throw line. Now, before we even get into his strengths and weaknesses, let's just talk a little bit about why this guy is 22 years old and a sophomore. All right, because usually at 22 years old, you're a senior. You're ready to graduate at 22 years old. All right. Obi Toppin, he was born in Brooklyn. All right. So for all intents and purposes, you can call him a local guy if you want to. He's born in Brooklyn. He moved to Florida. All right. From Florida, he moved back to New York and went to Ossining High School in his junior year. Okay. He was not a high recruit coming out of college, out of high school. Had no Division I offers. So he went to a prep school in Baltimore, Mount Zion Prep. He played there for a year. All right, coming out of Baltimore, coming out of Mount Zion, he had offers from several different schools. Dayton, of course, obviously, Rhode Island, Georgetown. Right? Clearly, he chose to go to Dayton. But he was a redshirt his first year. So his true freshman year, he was a redshirt. So he sat out for an entire year due to academic ineligibility. All right, so he's a redshirt his true freshman year. And then finally, he played as a redshirt freshman. So for those who may not understand, right, if you see a player, if you look at a player's career stats and it says a redshirted freshman, that means that their true freshman year, when they first went into college, they did not play that season. Or they played the number of games, so little games that they're allowed to redshirt. And then the next year, while class-wise, they may be a sophomore class-wise, basketball-wise, as far as NCAA eligibility is concerned, the player is still a freshman and can still play 4 years of college basketball. All right, so you actually get a whole year that and sometimes it happens for different reasons, right? You can be redshirted because of your grades. You can be redshirted because developmentally you're not ready and they want to develop you as a player. You can get hurt, bust a knee open, and you can redshirt that year. There's different reasons why you can redshirt. All right, but you get to practice with the team and you can go over plays and you can do all these things with the team. So he redshirted his true freshman year, and then the next year he played. So at this time, right, he went to prep school for a year, so he's probably about 19 when he goes to college as a freshman. And then his freshman year, he redshirts again. So then when he finally steps on the court to really play, he's 20. Right? He's 20 years old as a redshirted freshman. Right? And then he's 21 years old as a redshirted sophomore, and he turns 22 at the end of his sophomore year. So this is why he's 22 years old, and he's only considered a sophomore. He is a redshirted sophomore who came to college out of prep school. All right, so it took a lot of development for Obi to be the Obi that we see right now. And I think that means a lot. That's something that I think we have to talk about. It took a lot of development, a lot of years for Obi to be this Obi. Wasn't highly recruited out of high school. So he took that prep year. Now, who knows what would have happened his true freshman year, but he couldn't play. So there's some development that was going on there, right? He didn't play, but they were still working with him because he could still practice. He could still do certain things. So there was still development. He could still lift weights. Right, so there's some development going on there. Then you got his redshirt freshman year and his sophomore year. So that's why he's 22 years old and he's a sophomore. Right now, like I said earlier, he's a grown-ass man. So he's got NBA size and strength. 6'9", 220. He's got good size and strength. Vertically, he is explosive. Vertically, going up, he is explosive. Right? And you guys have seen the dunks, the windmill dunks and the power dunks and all those type of things. Right? He's a great roller in the pick and roll. That's where he scores most of his buckets. And that's the reason why so many people liken him to Amari Stoudemire, because he is so good in that screen and roll. Comes off that screen and roll, the point guard come off wide, they hit him, bam, he's rising up. And that's where that explosive verticality comes in. Because when he catches the ball, he can get up in the air quick, which is troublesome for a lot of people. All right, and he can shoot from the outside. He shot 39% from three. That's college three this season. I think in 18-19, he shot like 42% or something like that from three. He can shoot from the outside. He does kind of shoot it low. If you watch games, there are times, I've seen some games where he passed up wide open threes and swung it. Now, I'm not saying he's scared to shoot it. Maybe it was the coach said, hey, this is what we want. I don't know. Talented kid. His weaknesses, where's he got to grow? Well, the first question I have is how close is he to his ceiling? Like I said, it took a while for him to be the Obi that we know or that we've seen this season. So how close is he to his ceiling? That's a question that I think everyone should have. He's 22 years old, right? And I'm not saying that's old. Not saying that's old, but for him to be the player that he is right now, it took some years of development, right? He lacks some shiftiness and fluidity. While he's explosive going up in the air, right? He's not very, he's stiff. He's kind of stiff a little bit, right? He's not going to float around you and finger roll the ball. Fillet it, whatever you want to say. Doesn't really have an offensive repertoire. He's basically like you seen Amari when he played for the Knicks and he was trying to learn how to post up. Amari eventually developed a little bit of a post-up game. But Obi is just kind of, I'm going to back you down one way. Maybe I have a little bit of a drop step. That's all he has. Doesn't have much else. And I don't think he has many counters either. All right, he'll turn it over. He averages 2.2 turnovers per game. Especially on, some of his passes. Sometimes, I don't want to say he's loosey-goosey, but maybe he makes the wrong decision makes the wrong pass. And I question some of his basketball IQ. Does he, is he playing just off of talent, in strength and size and explosiveness? Or does he know the game? Or does he have a good feel for the game? So there's some questions there that I have about Obi. I like him a lot. I really do. I'm not going to lie. I like him a lot. But there's some definite questions about Obi for me. So, Guillermo, I'm going to come to you real quick and get your opinion since you're already up here about Obi, and then we'll go on and we'll get to some other people. What's your take on Obi Toppin?
Obi Toppin to me is scary because what you get is a guy who offensively – he's solid, right? I think he's shooting like 70-some% from the foul line, 39% from three. The guy, he's a physical, I don't say he's a marvel, but physically on offense, tip top, right? He's explosive, pick and roll. He could be deadly. A big guy can shoot, take it from top of the key, drive from the wings. He has that down pat, but like you said, he is very stiff. Mm-hmm. You watch clips of him playing defense in space. Oh my Lord Jesus, it's gonna be a nightmare. It is gonna be a night. They will we used to talk about the Knicks when teams came and they tried to run the pick and roll and get into Cantor. We thought that was ugly. And then when you try, if you for a big man like that, I mean, you can't defend in space. He can't defend bigs down low. He can't defend the pick and roll. He's just not a good defender, and he loses. And sometimes it's not just a lack of ability; it's also a lack of effort, which is not good. So I mean, when people like say the Amari Stoudemire thing, well, also remember they built around Amari Stoudemire, right? They and not saying he wasn't good in his first few years, but they took the time and then he got the right point guard, Steve Nash, right? And with how the NBA set up now, I'm not saying that Obi Toppin's going to fail in the first year or whatever, but a coaching change might change the direction of the team where now Obi Toppin's not going to get as many touches, right? And it may be a situation where he has to play defense, a team that wants to play the passing lanes and that stuff and stop certain players, harass a pick and roll. And Obi Toppin's not going to fit. He's just going to be an offensive player, that's fairly solid. So to me, he just and also he's 22, which I'm not saying you can't develop. You can always develop. There are guys who develop it every day who are in the so-called mid-20s, whatever. But you wonder because he goes to a school like Dayton, which I mean their competition is probably not, is Dayton. You know what I mean? You just have to wonder about level competition and if his ceiling's already capped. You know what I mean? So I'm not big on Obi Toppin like as some other people. I'd rather go. I mean, if you had to. Not say if you had to, because people can, if you had to. I'm just saying I'm just not as high on Obi Toppin. Defensively, he's just terrible. Offensively, is he a need? I mean, obviously, I'd rather have him than Knox because Knox is a terrible defender as well. But I don't know. I'm mixed. I really don't know because offensively, if you have a guy like that, I mean, you could run the floor effectively. The pick and roll would be so effective with him. You'd hope Mitchell Robinson could shoot so you could space him out and run a dangerous set where you're pick and rolling with Obi and having Mitch stay on the perimeter or close nearby. Maybe he cuts in, and so you have somewhat of a triple threat. Or you just have a lot more movement with your bigs in your front court, run that pick and roll. But I don't know, man. I think that this draft is so weak that you look at a guy like Obi Toppin and you see a lot of his explosive plays on offense, and you're like, yeah, man, he's a top 4 pick. But is he top 4? Last year. Is he top 3 last year against those 3 guys that went? Is he even better?
Well, last year
over RJ?
He actually
and look, Zion, John Morant, RJ, and people kill me, but it's like, would you take RJ? I mean, would you take Obi Toppin over RJ? I wouldn't.
Well, he actually declared for the draft last year. That's something that I forgot to mention. He declared for the draft last year. He did some workouts, but he didn't get an agent, and then he decided to go back to college. So what that says is that teams weren't going to draft him very high, right? He decided to go back to college to play another year because teams weren't going to draft him very high. So
if this was a stronger year, would we be talking about Obi Toppin being, or would we probably more assess his level of competition and point out some of his flaws? I mean, it's when you see a guy like when you see a guy like RJ, they're just more intangibles I see in RJ. I see with Obi Toppin, and Obi Toppin could be a great player. I ain't itching on him, but I'm just mixed, man. Because offensively, I think he could be a nightmare, but he giveth just as he taketh, and I think.
I guess the thing is, maybe he wouldn't be that in another draft, but who else do we have to choose from?
That's very true. That's very true.
Who else do we have to choose from? So I guess the question is, if he's there, if Lamelo Ball is gone and he's there at 5th or 6th,
gone, and we don't want Killian Hayes, I don't want Cole Anthony whatsoever. I guess I wouldn't take Wiseman.
I'm saying, say Wiseman is gone. Say Wiseman and Lamelo Ball is gone. Right. What are there at the 5th pick? He's there. Do we take him over Killian Hayes, Cole Anthony, Tyrese Halliburton?
I might have to take him over Halliburton. I might because oh my gosh, this is terrible. I like Halliburton too, but in a developmental sense, it also depends on the coach because I know Atkinson loves that pick and roll, especially with the center. I mean, you could have a deadly combo, and you wouldn't if you bring in a guy like Atkinson. I'm not saying your point guard doesn't have to be top of the line, but you rely a lot less because he creates space for his players. A lot of his action is within the motion, within space after the pick and roll, right? You don't need a guy to so-called beat his man, constantly over dribble and all this stuff and beat his guy to the basket or be a speed demon, right? But Halliburton, to me, I feel like Halliburton's the type of guy. I feel like if he went to the Spurs and they probably develop him, he'll develop that little mid-range, he'll fix his form of his shot. I'd probably end up taking Obi, just because the offensive potential is a lot higher. And then I'd wait to I try to get a Chris Paul, or I wait to next year to get the proper point guard.
Yeah, because I think, I would if LaMelo's gone, then I'm taking Obi.
Yeah,
I'm taking Obi. Between James Wiseman and Obi, I'd probably go with James Wiseman.
Someone said Wiseman is David Robinson. You guys have no idea what you're talking about. David Robinson.
He's not David Robinson.
Stop,
he said he likes David Robinson. He tried to, that's like someone who he modeled his game after because, he considers himself an old school center. That's what James Wiseman said. That's why people are saying David Robinson.
David Robinson used his strength down low, bro.
Well, this guy could develop his strength. I don't know.
Maybe. I'm not poo-pooing it, but let's not.
David Robinson,
I don't like when we take 18-year-old kids and because of potential, we say, oh, they're these Hall of Famers, and these are kids that they need. They almost get to the point where it's like, oh, he's finally an NBA player in his second, third year, maybe fourth, maybe even after that. And we're talking about guys versus guys who went to college. I don't know David Robinson went to military or whatever, but. It was at point. Was it?
He was in Annapolis. He was in Annapolis.
Yeah, and that's West Point, right? No, it's not. I'm sorry. One of the military schools, prestigious military schools. But come on, man, let's stop with this crap, man. He's David Robinson. Man. Stop.
Let me get to Isaiah. Are you ready? I don't know what Isaiah's doing. I'm gonna come to Kevin. Get Kevin's thoughts. Kev, you there?
Yes, Sam. How you doing?
Yeah, man. So what's your take, man? We're talking about Obi Toppin right now and just looking at would he be the right pick for the Knicks if he was there at 6 or any other pick if he's there?
Yeah, well, from what I've seen of him, I love him. I love his energy. I love his feel for the ball. I feel as though, people keep talking about his team defense and his pick and roll defense. I'm on the thing of I feel as though sometimes defense, the way it's supposed to be played, can be taught. I know players should be already knowing this, coming into the game and everything, but sometimes they don't. And I think with the right defensive coach, I think players can be just as good on defense as they are on offense. Now, I was talking to the guys in the video chat. I think that when we had Woodson, he was a defensive coach, and he was able to meld some of those players that we had. Even though we had some studs on defense like Tyson Chandler and I forget who, Iman Shumpert, but he was still able to get a lot of those players to play the type of defense that was expected. So I think with the right defensive coach, with the right defensive coach with a voice, I think that players like Obi Toppin, I think they could be, just as good on defense than they are on offense. Now, if he's on the board by the time wherever we pick, you got to ask yourself this question. We've always been claiming for a starting dynamic point guard.
Right.
So if he's on the board and let's say Lamelo is gone, but there's Killian, there's Halliburton, and some other point guards that we'll probably get to later on during the weeks and everything. Do you go for that point guard or do you go for Toppin?
Well, that's the question. That's the question.
All right,
And that's
so
what I'm asking you.
everybody in the chat
What will you
knows
do?
probably that knows that I'm a Frank Ntilikina fan. I would love for him to start. So me personally, yeah, I would go get Toppin and let Frank start. But I also know that Frank is great coming off the bench as well. So again, I would try and go for a point guard. Everybody knows that I'm high on Killian Hayes as well. We've talked about that and everything. So
how do you think Obi Toppin and Frank in that pick and roll? Because if you got Obi Toppin, you got to have someone who can execute that pick and roll and find him in that pick and roll. Can Frank do it?
Yes. In a heartbeat, I believe he can do that because that's all Frank does. Frank gets his when he gets his touches, he gets his touches. But Frank likes to get everybody involved. And you saw that with Mitchell Robinson this year. I don't know how many connections they made, but they made a lot of connections. I think they made more Frank, out of all the point guards and all the guys we had on the team, I think he made more connections with Mitch than anybody.
Yeah.
So
they definitely had they had some good chemistry together.
Yes. So I think Frank and Toppin would be great because that's all people keep slamming Frank for not, scoring and everything, but he's doing the next best thing with getting everybody involved. And he would be great getting Toppin involved. He's the one person on the team that would get him the ball, get him where he needs it, and not complain about it.
Yeah, no doubt. I see T. Williams in the chat said Obi is box office. You're right. He might be box office. And I love everything that I see about him. I just look at, there's just some things that I see that I get concerned about and whether or not he has reached his ceiling. And that's the shiftiness, the fluidity in his game. He's 22 years old. He still doesn't have great footwork. You know what I'm saying? Some of those things right there just scare me a little bit. He doesn't have an offensive repertoire. He's 22 years old now. Doesn't have an offensive repertoire. And I worry about his basketball knowledge. He jumped around from schools. He was when he was in Brooklyn, he didn't go to high school, but he was in Florida, and then he went to Ossining, and then he went to prep school. I worry about him moving around and jumping from coaches and coaches throughout high school. Where's the lapse in learning basketball? Right? There's a lapse in learning basketball there, I think, maybe. And so I worry about that. You know what I mean? I worry about that and whether or not, his game is going to translate to the NBA. It's going to. Right, in that screen and roll. But when Amari came in and he was doing that screen and roll and dunking on everybody, he came out of high school. Right, he came out of high school straight to the NBA and was doing that. Now, this guy's 22 years old. We'll see we'll see. I just worry about some of that basketball IQ and if his defensive rotations, those type of things. Isaiah.
What's up, son?
What's going on with you, bro?
We're talking about Toppin, right?
Yeah, we're talking about Obi Toppin.
Yeah, Sam, what Toppin, man, it's like the big thing that scares me with him is that he's 22. That's the thing that scares me a lot with him is that he's 22. So are we looking at his ceiling? Are we looking at him almost as a finished product? And I know it's crazy to say that about a 22-year-old, but the way the NBA is now, guys come in at 19, 18, So it's like with him, it's like that's the part that frightens me the most about him is that, he's 22. Did we see his ceiling? Did we see and like you said, he's bouncing around schools. And then, like you said, his draft stock wasn't really that high last year, so
yeah,
that's to me, that's a little telling sign of like, the kind of player, because you know what, Sim? Do you watch Skip and Shannon, Sim?
Did I watch what? Oh, Skip. Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this though. It was Shannon Sharp said something that stuck out with me because it was so true. He was like, I like the Tua guy better than Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow had an incredible, the best college season ever. but it was one season. Tua's been doing this consistently. So I say that to say that, Toppy, did he have good season before this? Because this is a great season that he's having.
He did. He had a good season before this.
Oh, okay.
His red-shirted freshman year, he had a good season.
Okay. All right. That's cool because I was just making sure because, you don't want to fall in love with a guy because he's, a little older. He has more of a grown man's body versus the young guys and that, he's having a good season because that can be just an inflation, So, I don't know, man. And then, I'm not really big on his defense. Especially he might be more of a tradition. He might be we say he plays like a Amari Stoudemire, so he might be more of a traditional, a 2000 mid 2004. You know what I'm saying? Like a mid range and power. Like he just plays like a Amari Stoudemire, that's like a mid 2000 kind of power forward. Hopefully that can translate.
Well, he can shoot the three. He shot 39% from three. And then in 2018, 2019, he shot 52% from three. 2018, 2019, he averaged 14 points a game, 5 rebounds. A few less minutes because he wasn't a starter at the time. He was a freshman, redshirted freshman, an old redshirted freshman. Let me say that. All right. Then last year, this season past, he averaged 20 points, 7.5 rebounds. Yeah, I don't know, man. Stay live. I'm gonna answer this call, but you're still gonna be live. All right, caller, you on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's poppin'? Hey, caller, you there? I don't know what happened to him. I guess he's not there. All right. All right, Nate. You're still live, Isaiah. Go ahead, Nate.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna get to Andrew. Somebody let Andrew know I'm about to come to him, so he be ready. Go ahead, Nate.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
So, what's your take on this, man?
So when I just watched some highlights while you guys were talking. He kind of looks like a cross between Amari. I do see Amari Stoudemire in him. I also see a little bit of Giannis in him too. He's got that really long gait and he's got that really long athleticism to get to the basket. He's not the defender, of course, that Giannis is, but athleticism, he's pretty dang athletic. I mean, he's got a long wingspan. He gets to the basket very easily. He's great in the pick and roll. The question I have with Obi Toppin is if the Knicks are going to draft Obi Toppin, let's say if he's available, first off, I'll say this. I would take him over all the point guards, in my opinion.
Okay.
I'm not in love with any of these point guards, like I told you before. I'm okay with going with DSJ or Frank Ntilikina starting the season. Get rid of Peyton.
I don't agree with you there. I really don't agree with you. You're kind of crazy for that one.
He's about 26 years old. I think he is what he is. I'll be cool with running with the 221-year-olds. But anyways, if you're going to get Toppin, my question is, what happens with Julius Randle? Because you have Julius that plays the 4. Obi was probably more suited to play the 4. Then you have Knox you want to put at the 4.
I mean at that point,
who's going to play your 3?
If you draft Obi, right, you're probably saying to Julius Randle, you're on the road. You're on the go. We're going to trade you, and they'll probably trade him off.
I would think so.
You know what I'm saying? If they draft Obi, and they really believe that he's going to be a starting power forward in the NBA, which he will be. His talent, his speed, strength, and ability. Listen, his first 2 years in the NBA, I think he's going to do well, and people are going to be like, "Wow, check this kid out." I get afraid the 3rd, 4th, 5th. Those first 2 years, have we seen what he is? You know what I'm saying? That's what I get concerned about right there. Have we seen?
I think there's room for him to get better, and depending on who he coach.
Yeah, you still live.
Can I just say something though?
I think whoever we get.
Yeah, go ahead, Isaiah.
I'm sorry, Nate. You a good dude, Nate. I don't know what the heck you talking about.
About what?
Having me. What do you mean you're gonna have you take Toppy over all the point guards for the draft?
Yeah, dude, because I don't believe in any of these point guards, man. They all have big deficiencies, and I'd rather take talent over.
Toppy's Andrew, he's gonna come to you after us, all right?
So So you take him after LaMelo? You take him before LaMelo Ball too?
Yeah.
Oh, you are crazy. Oh my Lord, Nate. What are you talking about?
I'm not in love with
Nate,
LaMelo Ball.
are you crazy?
I am not drinking the Kool-Aid of LaMelo Ball. I'm sorry.
Nate, hey, listen. Okay, Nate, you gotta understand. Wait, Nate, come on now, bro. You're talking
He's a
about
poor man's
LaMelo
Trae
Ball.
Young that can't shoot.
He's a Trae Young that can't shoot. Have you seen Trae Young's
He's
passing?
a poor man. I say he's a poor man's Trae Young that can't shoot.
Have you seen Trae Young?
He shoots everywhere.
He's a great passer, bro.
Yeah, but we need shooting, man. We don't need passing as much. We need guys
bro.
that can shoot the ball.
We need a point guard, Nate. We need.
Well, yeah, but
we need to establish a point guard that's going to be our point guard for years to come.
Yeah, but Tim, you got to agree. We got to get a point guard that can shoot. I mean, let's be honest. We have a bunch of point guards that can shoot.
You got to get a point guard that can shoot, distribute.
Nate, who's supposed to give Obi Toppin the ball? Who's supposed to give him the ball?
Hey man, I'm cool with Frank, man. Frank or DSJ.
Listen, wait, hold on. Nate, everybody knows I love Frank, but if you got a chance to get LaMelo Ball, you get LaMelo Ball. You can't. No,
let me get to Andrew. Let me get to Andrew, and then after Andrew, I'm coming to Mark. So you guys let them guys know. All right, Andrew, what's going on, man? What's up, man?
What's up, Sim?
I'm good, brother. What's your take, man? I'm good, man. I'm good. What's your take, Obi Toppin?
Oh man, I looked at some of his highlights. I looked at how he played and things like that. But I'm not as high as him as when Nate was saying, because man, the guy's already 22 years old. When you dealing with guys that age, when they come in and they're already what they are, you understand what I'm saying? Like, the reason why I'm not that sold, because there's a lot of free agents on a market that's going to be available that you could just plug in and have them play the four. So instead of using that top draft pick on a guy that's already 22, we can get ourselves a player that we know it probably can be an impact player or maybe a season or two away. I'm not going to take a guy that he's older than Frank, he's older than DSJ,
but let me.
He's older than Knox already.
Right. Right. You're right.
So
you're right.
I'm not that sold on him. He's 22 already. Frank is not even 22. Mitch is not even 22.
I get
he's
that.
older than them.
I get that, but let me ask you this though, because you said when a guy is 22, they're kind of already what they are. I would disagree with that.
Think about Tyler Hansborough, when everybody was so sold on him, and it's like he basically what he was. He didn't last in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those guys that played 4 years.
I mean, but that's gonna happen. And there's some guys that came out and was supposed to be the best thing ever and didn't last in the NBA too, right? I mean, it works both ways, because you had there's plenty of guys. I mean, think about it. So you're going to tell me when Frank Ntilikina turns 22, you're going to say, oh, he is what he is now? Or Kevin
I'm not going to say that, but the reason I'm saying that with this guy is, how much is he going to improve at the NBA level?
Well, I agree with you. We don't know.
When you're a rookie, right, they give you a year to 2 to maybe 3 years, okay, you're going to develop into something. So you have that time, unless you're going to be an impact player right away. He already 22. So like, okay, we're going to wait till he's 25 to be something. We're going to wait till he's 24, 25.
Well, see, the thing about him
right away, he has to be a game changer right as soon as he come in. He's a game changer.
Well,
he's already ready.
I think about him. This is what I think about him. I agree with you. We don't know if he's already reached his ceiling or not. And when I look at his footwork and I look at certain things, it makes me question, because he's 22 and he doesn't have fluidity. He's probably never going to be real fluid, right? Never going to be real light and ginger on his feet. I don't know if that means that he can't be, he can't have a really good career, but he's never going to be those things. But because he doesn't have those things now at 22, that also makes me question whether or not, he's going to develop, how much more he's going to do. He's going to develop more, but how much more is he going to develop?
That's what I'm saying.
How much more is he going to develop?
When he comes in,
I think that when he comes in,
impact player.
See, I think when he comes in, because of what he has, he's going to come in and make an impact, in my opinion, because of what he already has. Okay. He has good size. He has good strength. He has good speed. I think the first 2 years, he's going to come in and make an impact. And then I question after those first 2 years, 2 to 3 years, after those 2 to 3 years, is he going to level off and not continue to ascend? That's what I worry about with him. Because I don't, because he's 22 years old, he may come in and be like boom, 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 and he go up his first 3 years, he go up and then kind of level off. That's what I worry about with him. I'm not sure.
Because I look at it like if that's the case, I'd rather get one of these veterans that can play that's not going to demand a lot of money, that's going to help teach these young guys to play. You know what I'm saying? I could plug them in. They already, they already understand how to fit within a team concept.
Yeah.
And then we draft the best guy available. Like me, I want either Anthony Edwards or Lamelo. That's who I'm looking at, because to me they have much greater upside. They're both like 18 years old, and they already look like guys that they look like they're ready to play. I mean, not too much of Lamelo because the physicality, but Anthony Edwards, you can move him in, you can put him at the 2, the 3. You could put RJ there, which I think is more suited for his position because he could be more of a slasher. Edwards is more of the shooter / penetrator, and they both can finish transition. And whoever my point guard is fine, because the point guard just simply needs to be a distributor, help them get into the offensive flow quickly. And I think that's better for the team's success moving forward. I'm not that sold on I'm not sold on Toppins, and I know earlier I was talking about Edwards.
Now we're talking about Wiseman.
Oh yeah, Wiseman. And I mean, he's cool and all. My issue with him is the pick and roll defense. NBA, it's a pick and roll league throughout the season. It's pick and roll crazy. So that's the thing I'm kind of worried about him with. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause we need a center. There's a plethora of centers out there. You have Aaron Baines. Maybe DeMarcus Cousins will be healthy. Maybe we can experiment, but I'm not too sold on doing that.
I think we need, if we're going to go center route at any point, we need a bona fide backup center. I believe Mitch will be. Does Mitch start next year? I don't know. We'll see. But I believe Mitch will be your starting center. We need someone that's going to be a backup.
Aaron Baines will be a good backup center.
Okay.
But but personally, we have to get the best guy available. You go for the best guy available, and if we get the number 1 pick, I'm torn between Edwards and Lamelo. Okay. And me personally, I want Edwards. I think right away he comes in, he can shoot the 3, he can attack. He has the 3 game, he has the get all the way to the basket game. He doesn't necessarily have to pull up a jump shot mid range, but that can come and develop. And if Kenny Atkinson is the coach, he definitely is going to know what to do with Edwards, because what he did for Dinwiddie. And I think that would help out Knox a lot, and it definitely would help out Frank. That's why I hope that's the pick we get, because it would just help us out tremendously. And Sim, I think that would definitely work.
Let me get to this phone call. Let Mark know I'm coming to him after this phone call, so be ready. All right, caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
All right, good night, Tim.
What's going on with you, bro?
Hello?
How you feeling?
I'm good. I've been hearing y'all talking about who should draft, right? But I would go with Obi for a lot of reasons, right? I don't know if you remember from the Tatum draft. They looked at his draft board, and they were saying the same things about Tatum that they're saying about Obi Toppin, that he's stiff, he's reached his ceiling, and other stuff like that. So, considering that, I think he would be a good prospect for us. What we could do, I would say a scenario is that we have the 27th pick. We can move up with and trade that pick with Julius Randle to move up to like the 15th or the 20th pick. What do you think?
Let me see. It looks like we'd probably be about the 27th pick.
Maybe fall off to the mid first round.
I mean, it depends on, who you're trading them to and what you got to take back. You know what I mean? Because if you're going to trade Julius Randle, you might as well not take any money back. Take any money that's going to extend. You know what I'm saying? Or if you are going to trade Julius Randle, make sure you're getting something back. I mean, if I'm trading Julius Randle, I would try to do it for Chris Paul. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what I would try to do it for Chris Paul. Because
if I'm going to get an Obi.
He has Chris Paul under contract. I think his contract ends. Also Dennis Schroeder, also Gallinari. All right? So we would trade our 27th pick plus Julius Randle for them. You understand?
But I don't know if they want Julius Randle.
Well, they might just lose all 3. We never know. Because Gallinari wants like an extended contract. Schroeder possibly wants a starting role. I don't think he likes coming off the bench anyhow. So that might be an option for us, and we could just take Obi.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens, man. Hey, I appreciate your call, man. I'm gonna get the mark here in the chat. All right.
All right. Thanks. All right.
I appreciate it, man. Good call. And ladies and gentlemen, after this show at 12:20, I'll be on the front stoop for about 35 minutes. So make sure you join me on the front stoop. I'm about to put the link in the chat. Mark, I'm coming to you. Actually, the link is in the description of this video. Go into the description of this video and subscribe to the channel. Mark, what's popping with you, bro?
What's cracking, man? What's going on?
So talk to me, man.
So,
Obi.
Listen, Obi is like the last resort type of pick for the Knicks because he's going to be an impact player as soon as, depending on the team drafts him, depending on the team he falls to. And I feel with him, he does everything on the floor very, very well. I hear people talk about his defense. His lateral movement is not good. But it's not like he don't try, but he's not a perimeter type of a big man that can guard the perimeter. He will get beat every time because of his stance. He's very vertical in his stance. So he's not going to be a very lateral defender. But he will try. So I won't call him like the dude is just obsolete in that area. I think he's one of the top passers in college also. I think his high low game is exceptional on the NBA. His game just translates to the NBA. He can make those cross pass shots, passes. His offense, he's gonna be a good offensive player with the right guard with him that can get the ball to him. He's a great low post passer too. He knows when the double team is coming. He knows how to tech. He's just a high IQ basketball player. But for the Knicks, I'm going to go with the younger guys before I take him because he's 22. I don't think he's ever going to be an all-star, but could he surprise me on the right team? Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Because a lot of his game remind me of Bam from Miami. He's not going to give you 20 points, but he does everything well. Everything well. And Bam was an all-star. But with the right team that could put him in position, like Miami put Bam in position, he can be an all-star because he can affect games because he is a playmaking big. You watch this kid, he was probably one of the best college players of this year. If you just watch him, if you just watch the plays he makes, he's making plays for his teammates, not the other way around. He's making plays for the team as a big man. It was going through him, high, low. He was making all those passes, man. It's intriguing. But for the Knicks, no, I wouldn't take him this early. That's why I'm kind of skeptical with the Knicks pick, and I hope we don't pick number one because I think that's a lot of pressure.
I definitely wouldn't take him number one. I would not take him number one.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. No. To me, Obi be like the 4th, 5th pick, 6th pick. I would take him before I take a lot of those guards in a draft. But
so if we had number one, who would you take?
Me's Lamelo first. And I'm kind of wishy-washy. I'm kind of side and side with Wiseman and Edwards. I love Edwards because he could do a lot on the floor and he could score on all 3 levels of the NBA. Wiseman reminds me of Embiid coming out of college, even though he had 3 games. But for you to put 20 and 10 for your 3 games, not a lot of guys come in college and do that for their first 3 games. So there is high potential, and he's raw in certain aspects. But he has a good mid-range jump shot. He's quicker. He's a quick big man, very agile. He can rebound. He can sprint. And he's bigger than Embiid right now. He's weight 265 right now. And if you watch him now, if you go to his Instagram right now, he's getting in shape. Now he's working with the same trainer Oladipo is working with. And he already in shape. He's already putting on muscle. So the kid, you could tell the kid want to be great. So that's a plus.
I thought he weighed 235.
No, he He's big. He was bigger than Embiid before he started working out, bro. Embiid is 250 right now.
Everything I see about him, he's 235, 237.
No, he's 265, bro. I seen the thing where he's 265. They have him as 265. I think he's 6'11", 7 foot.
7'1". 7'1". He's 7'1".
Okay, 7'1". So the reason why I like Wiseman a lot, because now I hear y'all talk about Mitch. Because Mitch is not such of an offensive player, his game is going to regress in so many ways because he doesn't look to even shoot the ball. He has a stroke because he can shoot free throws. So he has a touch there. But his mentality is like sort of a Frank. He's not going to take the shot. He's going to do what he's comfortable is doing. So in that case, his game is going to regress. So as of right now, if you look through the league right now and you look at all the big men right now, Mitch could guard some of them, but could he go back and forth with them? You know what I'm saying? Could Mitch match up with these bigs in the league?
Like that.
No. Okay? No. So Wiseman for the front court, he could do a lot for us from rebounding. He can be a potential great post defender and just a trend. He could be Embiid. I see a lot of Embiid because when Embiid came out, if you watch him in Kansas, you didn't think Embiid was going to be this good. If Embiid was completely healthy throughout the league, Embiid is a top 5 player in this league. Embiid is a top 5 player in this league, offensively and defensively. He impacts both of the floor. But because he can't stay on the floor, but because he has knickknacks and he's not consistent the way people really, really, really want him to be and really dominate. I would say dominate, not say consistent, dominate. Mitch is going to kind of regress to be a bench player until he showed that he wants to be that guy, because the ball don't revolve around Mitch. Now, if you get Wiseman, it's going to revolve around him.
You think so?
Because
I don't think the ball's going to revolve around him. I don't think the ball's Wiseman. He doesn't have that kind of scoring game. Most of his scoring is coming off of the same way Mitch is getting his in the NBA.
No.
He doesn't have that kind of scoring game.
Sim. When you watch the kid, he has a jump shot. Number one,
yeah, he does.
He has post move. It's just like with Embiid. If you watch Embiid from the day he was in Kansas, Wiseman has great footwork, just like Embiid did. But Embiid was nowhere where Wiseman is right now. Nowhere.
I agree. Nowhere. He has good footwork, but I don't think he comes in the NBA and you're revolving your offense around him.
No. You're going just off his potential, off his raw potential. You're going to do that. You're going to revolve the team around him because, number one, he has the highest ceiling. He would have the highest ceiling on the team. So a lot of the offense is going to run through him so he could get the touches to see what he can do. Mitch is not a player like that. Mitch is a high-energy big man. Until he shows he wants that responsibility offensively, I don't think he's going to be that way because he don't have footwork like Wiseman. So it's tricky where the Knicks could pick because that's the dilemma. That is the dilemma, man. That is really the dilemma. So I like Wiseman. Toby is a last thought. I think Toby will be great on a team that's established and you can go to. I would say like Golden State in some cases, he will be excellent there because I have a feeling that Golden State might want to trade out. If they was to get the first pick, I heard they want to trade out of it. They would want to trade out of it. And I think Obi Toppin will be their guy because he could do a lot. He does a lot what they want in a big man. He's going to play a lot of 5. And to have him with those shooters and Draymond, he's going to be an impactful player. Wiseman, I want Lamelo. Lamelo's my guy, number one, because I just want to get the point guard. But if supposedly we don't get that and someone take Lamelo, I just feel like it's a toss-up between him and Edwards. And I think I might take the big. The big just changes the game a lot when you really think about it. Just look at the league, man. A lot of teams have great bigs, man. Just look at Jokic, man. I would rather the big because they can control a lot on the floor. And in playoff contention, you can do a lot, and they are very needed. Bigs are very needed. A lot of people think, yeah, it's a guard league. No, it's a very big man league still.
Nah,
It's a very, very big man league still. So people really have to think about that. The Knicks do need front interior. We really do.
Yeah.
We really
Mark,
do
let me
need
get to
front
this.
interior,
Let me
bro.
get to this phone call, man, and then I'm about to head to the front stoop to do the show. Let me get to this phone call real quick. All right. Caller, you on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Hey, how you doing? This
I'm
is
good,
Rome.
bro. How you feeling?
And my thing is, if we're not gonna get Lamelo Ball or any other nice point guard, we should definitely go with bulking up the front line, because a lot of our front line guys are older. You know, the Bobby Portis, we need somebody young, somebody fresh down there. So if we can't get a good point guard, we should go with maybe a Toppin or maybe even a Wiseman.
Yeah, I mean, right. Nah, I mean, if we can't get a good point guard, if we can't get LaMelo, then I think it's up in the air, you know, and looking at one of those guys. If you can't get, that's for me. That's for me.
We have a lot of guards sitting on the bench not doing anything. We want to bring in more guards. If we can't get the D point guard, the point guard that we really want, then we should just think about bulking up the front line with some young guys, especially if we're trying to trade Randall, especially if Portis is not going to be around for a long time, especially if what's our center name, Gibson. If we get rid of him, who we going to have is just a Mitch.
Right. Nah, I feel you. You're gonna have to fill in that front line. Depending on what happens in free agency. Well, the draft is gonna be before free agency anyway. But yeah, nah, I feel you.
Yeah, it just seems like we are just thinking one-minded as far as point guard, and when we need to think about the whole team concept as far as 1 through 5, who's going to follow who at the bench, and definitely just bulking up. Honestly, athleticism. A lot of time when you're going against teams with like Giannis, we don't have nobody that can match up with Giannis. We don't have anybody that can match up with Anthony Davis and Embiid. So, I mean, like, you got to give real serious thought to, like, guys like Wiseman. Just some sort of thought or bringing somebody.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Remember, we got 2 picks in the draft, so.
Yeah, I understand that. Maybe somebody late. But like I said, it shouldn't be just a one approach kind of thing where we're just looking at a point guard, and we're not thinking about a whole team aspect. You know, we got the 3, the 4, the 5. The front line is just a bunch of veteran players that are on 1 or 2 year contracts.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. Hey, I appreciate your call, man. I got to roll. I got to head over to the front stoop, all right?
I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, man. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. I'm about to head over to the front stoop, so I hope that you head over there with me. All right? And please subscribe to the channel. Just look in the description of this video and subscribe to the channel. All right, if you like hip-hop music, join me on the front stoop as we, just talk hip-hop. We're about to jump on for about 30 minutes and just talk some hip-hop, whatever we're going to talk about. A big shout-out to Siobhan Robinson, though. For the super chat. You said Nate is high on Melo. Nate is not high on LaMelo, but is high on Frank. I get you, my man. Yeah. I know. I don't know where Nate went, but yeah, no doubt. And then Danny Thomas, thank you for the super chat. He said, I don't think LaMelo is going to be there when we draft. But Obi Toppin, you said draft Obi Toppin, trade Randall for Kelly Oubre. Get Kenny Atkinson and Woodson on the staff. Hey, we'll see what happens there, man. That could be a plan. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am about to get up out of here. I'm heading over to the front stoop. I'm supposed to be on there at 12:20. All right. I seen somebody just throw a little crack at me. D Public Enemy said, nothing but Knicks will work on 1, 2s, and 3s and ABCs next show for your slow. I don't know what he's trying to say. But anyway, he said we were slow. He called me slow. Maybe I am slow. I don't know. Maybe I'm saying things backwards tonight. I could be slow. Anyway, I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you guys for joining me. Anyone that I didn't get a chance to get to, I apologize. You know, I'll be back on Friday. I'll be able to get to you on Friday, all right? I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Be peaceful, be safe,